What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 13 of Fantasy in Progress, a Point in Progress podcast. All talk about Final Fantasy 14. We talk about everything from like the small stuff like Mahjong, like one of Fee's favorite games, to Final Fantasy rating, to the new Pandemonium Savage and just like that normal like Pandemonium and stuff like that. Yeah, we talk about pretty much everything we can. We have the full cast today. We legit have the full cast. And going forward, we're probably gonna have 2 to 3 of us, but depending on people's work schedules and stuff like that, we might have the full cast every now and then. But for now, how you doing, Fee?
I'm great. I was doing some organizing today, and now I'm really excited to talk about Final Fantasy 14, my favorite place to play Mahjong. Definitely the place to be to play Mahjong, everybody.
I mean, yeah, if you're not playing Mahjong in Final Fantasy 14, are you actually living?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Frank, how are you?
Pretty good. I've been using Final Fantasy as an outlet to get my anger out when I'm not playing Destiny. So that's Final Fantasy for me so far right now.
Well, that's fun. Yeah, I've been doing well. I've been doing a lot of Savage rating the last little while. We got through 5 and 6. We're planning to clear 7 today, so hopefully that'll happen tonight. That we're gonna get 7 done and then start working on 8 next week. But Savage has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. But today's episode, we're gonna touch a little bit on Pandemonium, just kind of get cursory knowledge because I know Fee's done it. I want to get because I released a video a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, about my thoughts of what the fights were and where the story was going. So I'm just gonna ask Fee just like non-spoil, like really spoilery questions, just more like just questions about it because I know Frank hasn't done it yet. And then the other thing I want to talk about is I just want to talk about the state of the game. I want to talk about the state of Final Fantasy. We have a little bit of a downtime until probably end of October. I think is going to be the new patch that's going to come out, which will be the new 24-man raid and then the catch-up mechanics for the raid and stuff like that too. So we're going to get a bunch of things. We're going to get a new relic quest probably at the end of October, and then some more Beastman Tribe stuff too. So
sure.
But yeah, so before we get into that stuff, Fee, what did you think about Abyssos?
Abyssos. Without spoiling anything, I thought it was quite good. There were some aspects that I was not expecting. And you and I had quite a long conversation about it afterwards about where it's going and the actual like where it began and then like where it's going to be going for the actual next wing. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with that. I will admit, and I said this to you, I was not prepared for how long it was going to be, even in just standard, by going through the storyline. It was quite, I think it took us 3.5 hours.
Something like that, yeah, something like that. It's funny because like you never expect these things to take that long. You're like, I got 4 fights, we're in, we're out, let's go, right? But
exactly.
For some reason, there are not for some reason, but there are so many cutscenes in this, and so many dense cutscenes that you get to the point where it's like, this is gonna be a long day.
Yeah, because I was just like, okay, Harv and I will just do this for like an hour and a half because that usually seems to be how long the raids are, and then we'll like be good to go. And then it was 3.5 hours, and I was just like, oh, well, yeah, because by that point you need to go to raid. So I'm like, you need to go get food. I do. And guys, if you know me in any sort of capacity, I did not even take my usual, like, I'm going to be right back and leave for 30 minutes. Like, that's
30.
not
30.
That's
30.
That's on a good day.
That's being generous.
That's fast.
No, that is like the only time I went away for 15 minutes because I wanted to go get cheese and crackers and a drink because it'd been 2 hours at that point. And I'm like, it shouldn't be too much longer, but I have no like water in front of me, so I need to get water. And I was feeling a little bit snacky because I know we were going to be going through another large portion of non-voice acted cutscenes. I am so sick of, I'm sorry. Like, it is 2022. I know that your other raid storylines do not have any voice acting, but I think this expansion could have been the introduction to voice acted cutscenes for your main story raid, because holy mother of God, there was so much information I had to consume. And I'm just like, by the midway through, I'm like, this is just this is too much. Like the storyline, like I was invested, but as someone who has the like attention span of like, I don't like, sometimes it's like instantaneously gone. It was so much to read, and it like was breaking my brain a little bit.
The funny thing is, like, Coil had voice acting at the end of it. Like, that legit had voice acting with Alize and Alphino and their grandpa Louis Watt. Like, they had voice acting, which I'm like, they could have just done that. Like, just go back to that. Like, just like, you guys have the budget. I'm pretty sure you guys have the budget to like bring these actors back, and new actors, obviously, because there's new characters. Bring them on, and then just voice act the thing. I'm hoping the next one after Pandemonium, because I know we're not going to get voice acting for the third one. Let's be real here. And then you also have voice acting for the 24-man raid inside the raid.
Yeah.
Right? All of the bosses are all voice acted in there.
Yeah.
But they're not voice acted in while you're doing the quest. It's very weird.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. And I feel like it could be an opportunity for them to like, I'm not saying that their raids need to be improved, because the fight mechanics are, especially with this particular wing, quite interesting. Other than the fact some of the fights later on were easier than earlier on in the wing, which that's at least what I felt.
Yeah.
Because I don't specifically remember, my apologies, in order, but some of them were quite challenging at the beginning, even for just a normal mode. And then we got to the very last boss, and I'm like, wait, this isn't the last boss. This seems like a little too easy. Yeah. Is this like a Shadowbringers moment where we're like fighting the end boss and it's like, it seems to be easy, and then they die, and then we're like, oh wow, actually, like, oh shit, like there's a whole other part of this fight? Nope.
They do that in Savage mode. They don't do that in normal mode. So Savage has two bosses. It's got the door boss, and then it's got the main boss afterwards.
That's what's happening. Okay.
Yeah. No, that is the same thing in Savage. Exactly the same thing. The first fight, in my opinion, is the hardest fight out of all of them that I've been through.
Yeah.
Because of one particular mechanic, but like there's just so much happening in that first fight. It's kind of a nice dance. After that, they just like, the second fight's okay. Third fight is just so fucking boring. It's Savage. It is so boring until the last 30%, where you're just like, I'm gonna throw everything at you all at once. It's like, what?
Why? Why?
It's so annoying. But Frank, you haven't done Pandemonium yet. Do you remember the story and stuff? What's going on in Pandemonium?
I don't even remember when you guys did it. I don't even.
What?
When did you guys end up doing it?
What?
I mean, I don't remember that. I haven't done the new stuff yet.
That's what I mean. You've done the first stuff though, right? You've done the first 4.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah, we all did it together for that one, right? Are you excited to jump back into that story?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't really remember because it's been a little bit. If I remember correctly, it was just very Castlevania-esque.
Yeah, we kind of stay away from the Castlevania for this next part, but but there is, I think when you see what it's about, you're gonna be all in. You're gonna be all in.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would I even do that? Would I just LFG for that or something?
I mean, if I'm on at the same time, I can run it with you. If Mia's on, obviously she can run it too. But yeah, you just have to unlock the quests, and then just like how you normally do, you just quest and then just queue it up. They're easy fights, so your people are gonna run through them really, really quickly.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to touch up on that, and then next week I can get Frank's like opinions on the raid and stuff like that too. So, yeah. So I want to talk about the state of the game right now. So how are you guys feeling about Final Fantasy XIV? Because I know Fee has went through all of Island Sanctuary. She is done with Island Sanctuary now. She had her own thoughts on that. So I want to start with Frank, since I started with Fee last time. What are your thoughts about Final Fantasy right now? Like where it is?
I will say right now, getting back into it is not very easy. It is very hard to get back into the game when you've been gone for like 6 months,
Yeah.
especially getting used to the mechanics and everything like
And
that.
learning your rotation again.
Well, learning the rotation's always been easy for like my like machinist, you know what I mean? It's just kind of doing the same motions. It's more just like you start playing other games and then you realize just like, oh, I like things from this game and I wish this game would now do that thing, right? One of the things being speed. You spend a lot of time in this game just slowly traversing this world, and I get the map size is, you know, it's medium to small for smaller hubs and bigger for like bigger hubs, but traversing them, it still takes so much time, and there's still a little bit of guesswork with the map.
Yeah.
That me and Fee have talked about since episode 1. Sometimes you're walking in an area, you're like, oh, maybe this is the area I'm supposed to. Oh, no, never mind. It's above me. I got to go all the way around. And it's like, the traversal still kind of gets me every now and again. But the one thing I want to talk about is how hard it is to get back into the game after you've unsubscribed from it for a little bit. Now, Square Enix, I wouldn't mind if your next expansion wasn't a game expansion. It was a fix your fucking shit store expansion, because logging in to Mog Station is a nightmare. Logging into the client after being gone for a long time is a nightmare. And then the fun part is it's multiple gates of logging in, like log into Mog Station. Okay. Log into this second part of Mog Station. Okay. Then log into Steam. Okay. Then I got to log into PayPal because my Steam's that's not really Square Enix's fault, but whatever. But it's just like this multi-layer of logins. And they're always pages that don't save your logins. Like if you have like Steam saved on like Firefox, for example, and you open it up on like their Mog Station thing, you're not logged in. So then I have to log into Steam, got to get my one-time code, got to do this. Then I'm logged in. And then sometimes it just wouldn't even take the payment. It was like, oh yeah, you just have to spend this 15. Okay, cool. Then you have to activate it. And then the game wouldn't really detect that I bought it. And then it was just like, it was just a whole mess. But please, Square Enix, just fix it. Just make it a single login to Steam. Bungie does it. Everybody else does it. It's super easy. Just make it work. You know what I mean?
They've
This
always
multi-layer
been,
login is so annoying.
they've always been so far behind. It's like they're like trying to like not make you not buy the game or try
Exactly. Dude, I sat
actively.
there for almost 30 minutes, and I think we had the same conversation when we first started. I sat there for almost 30 minutes, and at some point I almost said, screw it, I don't even care anymore. Like I was literally gonna sit there and be like, no, I'm not gonna play this right now, I need to do this later. But we eventually got through, and then the game, weirdly enough, does I think the new user or coming back experience is pretty cool, because they do add a little thing there, say, hey, you've been gone for a little bit, do you need a refresher? And I do like that. I really do think that's really cool. I wish games like for example, Destiny would do that, because you come back to Destiny, just bombard you with store stuff and say, go crazy.
I'm
Go
afraid
crazy.
that's why I'm afraid to run the game. Right?
Yeah.
It's like I know when I'm not logging to Destiny, it's gonna be like, do this. I'm like, you know what? I just gonna press the Alt F4 button. I'm out. Peace.
They just bombard you. So I do like the new user experience on that, or even the returning player experience. The game, like I said, the gameplay is much of the same. I really do wish by now we would have more variation on like other stuff like combat and everything like that for our characters. I feel like we've been level 90 for years, but I feel like that's also the same kind of stipulation people have had for like level 80, level 70 and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna get a level cap increase until the new expansion, right?
Yeah, but I just feel like the combat is already kind of like stagnated for me there, where like when we were starting before, like from going from 0 to 90, we'd always have this kind of thing that we're like, oh, okay, once we hit this new level cap, we're going to get some new, abilities. And they always kind of kept us going forward. And now I just feel like I feel like I've been where I am for like a little too long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel that. That's why I usually, I had to switch my entire tank identity for this raid. And so I had to switch off of Paladin, and I had to go not Dark Knight, Gunbreaker for this expansion. And then learning Gunbreaker was a hassle and a half, and trying to optimize it as much as I possibly can. But I think that's the fun thing about it, is like trying to learn the other jobs and trying to optimize them as much as you possibly can. So it kind of keeps it fresh. Because playing one job, 100%.
No.
It gets it gets boring after a while, right? Just playing one job over and over and over. So me switching over because I want to do Dark Knight next. I want to learn Dark Knight. I want to optimize Dark Knight and try to play it as the best I can because I think I might do that for one of the raids at some point.
Mhm. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, the story, we'll probably talk about that at some point, but the story, I thought for these last two expansions or mini expansions are pretty damn good.
Zero.
Zero
is awesome.
Zero is a very awesome character. I love her to death, and I can't wait to see more of her in the future.
We had theories about this. We had theories about Zero and what they're gonna do with her and what the whole story could be with her. Like I have a feeling she's not gonna live past the patches.
probably not.
I don't think she's going to. I think she's gonna die before we get into 7.0. It's gonna be one of those things before we get to 7.0. But the whole Golbez thing and fighting with Scormiglione and all that kind of stuff was just like, because like I'm a Final Fantasy IV fan. I really like Final Fantasy IV, and seeing all that stuff on screen is amazing. It is so cool to see them like brought to life. Like I was saying in the last episode, it's like they give you the Final Fantasy IV references, but it doesn't make it feel like you need to go play Final Fantasy IV.
Correct.
Yeah, like I didn't even know there were Final Fantasy IV references. I thought these were just like new characters that we're gonna just introduce in.
Yeah, no, Golbez and the four Archfiends, they're enemies in Final Fantasy IV. Like they're a big thing in Final Fantasy IV. But like again, you don't need to like. It doesn't make you want to go play. Like, oh man, I should go play Final Fantasy IV because these are all different characters. The way they act, the way they their motivations and all that kind of stuff, they're all different.
Yeah.
That's what I think makes it a lot better because then you don't feel like you're missing out on anything or missing out like after like character like motivations and stuff like that, which is a really, really cool way of doing it.
Agreed.
Yeah. Sophie, how about you? Where are you at right now?
I feel like
now that you've done Island Sanctuary.
now that I finished Island Sanctuary, I don't know. I don't feel as motivated to play currently. Like I was definitely motivated when I was trying to do like I was on daily when I was doing Island Sanctuary. Mind you, there is still a lot I could do. There are the like obviously the reputation quests I could work on. And then also, obviously, crafting I could work on, or I could do the Hildebrand stuff. Finally, I need to sit down at one point, like one weekend, and just go through Hildebrand. But I just haven't felt as motivated to play, mostly because I'm not planning on doing hard mode rating at least right now. I've done hard mode rating before. We did it a few months ago when we were doing hard modes. And I'm not as motivated as I used to be to like, work as a team to like weekly do that and try to do that weekly grind. But at some point, maybe I'll go back to it. But right now I'm just not as nearly as motivated, which I know a lot of people are feeling the same way. It's kind of getting that fatigue currently. And hopefully we get to see at least some like holiday events. I know they don't celebrate Halloween the same way in this game, or at least at this particular time. And then also just, I don't know. I was very excited about Island Sanctuary. Obviously I got to max cap. And I definitely have feelings about that, and we'll talk about that at length when we get to our Island Sanctuary episode in the next few weeks, because I have thoughts. But yeah, I don't know. Like I just don't. I feel a little bit of a fatigue currently. I'm trying not to get too far behind by any means, because I have done that before when I played other MMOs. And then it gets to a point where you're just like, I don't have like, I'm so far behind, I shouldn't even like try, you know what I mean?
I know exactly how you feel, yeah.
And so right now it's just a matter of trying to stay as motivated until the next patch. Mind you, I guess the motivation I could have currently is trying to, in some way, by grace of something, to try to get access to a house or like a
I mean, it seems like the housing stuff isn't too bad right now. Like you can go buy a plot and try to see what you can do and stuff like that. The fatigue part of it is like I do understand the fatigue part of it, but I think this is an MMO that like you either play for a bit and then you take a little break and then you come back and then you take a little break and you come back type thing. I only log in. I pretty much log in to do my dailies and then my raids. Right. That's pretty
Yeah.
much where I'm at right now when it comes to this game. Obviously when we do I do more Island Sanctuary, I'm gonna just go hard on that and just kind of go through it and see how that is. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once you've hit like this is like the lull period right now. I feel, before a patch comes out. And I feel like once the new patch comes out, people are gonna come back. We're gonna start doing some of the new stuff, and yeah. What are you hoping to like? What are you hoping that what are you looking forward to when it comes to like the game to bring you back in?
Story for sure. Going through the main story quest. Because for a very long time, and I agree with Frank, for a very long time we were all motivated because of the story. We spent so much time last year going through the storyline that now that there's no specific story to work on, mind you, yes, I could go and do quests. I could do the Hildebrand, of course, or do some of the old raids and then go through those storylines. But I just feel like right now, I don't know. I don't feel as motivated because there isn't that main specific story arc. And if I do want to do something that's not in a main story arc, it's usually off of this game and playing a different game currently. And I know that this is the type of MMO that it's very custom and very normal for people to have that kind of lull. But for me, going from like, because I've played MMOs where they consume your life for
Yeah.
the most part. World of Warcraft, if you don't play for a little while, you can get replaced quite quickly, or you end up falling way so far behind that you're just like, okay, so because they don't like, there's not just like one specific raid that goes from like the beginning of an expansion to the very end. There are multiple raids that are released during the expansion. So I think in for example, Wrath of the Lich King, there was 1, 2, 3. And then the third one, there was 3 different sections of it because it was Old War. And so then like branched out. Actually, no, there's 4 because there's Old War. And then there was like after that specific point, there was ICC, which was Ice Crown Citadel. So 4 total. And then Old War had branches of theirs. And then ICC had its own wings as well. So there was more motivation because you had to go through those raids to be able to go to the next one, and you had to do those dungeons. And so in this game, it's just a matter of like, okay, I could log in and do dailies, or I could log in and do my daily dungeon runs and stuff like that, or level up another class. But I don't know. I don't like right now. My thought process is there are other games that I specifically would like to play currently that have that main story quest element to it, or like that main story arc. Whereas with this one right now, it's you could build out the story by going to raid, do Hildebrand, and I'm saying Hildebrand a lot because everyone tells me, "Oh, you should do Hildebrand. You'll love Hildebrand." And now there's some sections of the story that you now need to do Hildebrand. Then I'm just like, oh my god, okay, I guess I need to go do this.
Yeah,
but
the new relic quests are gonna be stuck behind Hildebrand.
yeah, so I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like really, really silly relic things, like cactpot swords and stuff like that, and like that kind of type thing. So like it's supposed to be it'll be locked behind Hildebrand. I don't know how far into Hildebrand you have to go. You probably have to finish all the way up to Heaven's Ward to do it. But
yeah, more than likely. That's cool though. I mean, just jumping off of what Fee said, that doesn't make sense though, because we're kind of in a weird period right now with this game where like the main story is over and we're slowly building up to what's next. But like, is this what where we're at currently? What's next, or is this like the middle kind of ground story before we pull the veil and reveal what is actually next? You know what I mean? So it's just like we're in that period of like uncertainty, but at the same time, we kind of don't really have anything right now to kind of work off of because it's still all brand new.
Yes and no. I think we do mainly because of the discussion that Y'shtola has with Zero when they're back on the source, talking about how they can bring life back to the 13, back to a world, because the Eden raid if I don't know if both of you guys have done it yet, but the Eden raid is pretty much the same concept where in the first everything's been engulfed by light, right? They had like almost had a calamity with the light side, and then the Eden raid brings life back to the parts where there is this sea of light.
Yeah.
So that's what Eden does. And I think that is going to be the precursor of bringing Eden into the 13 and bringing it back to life.
Yeah. But my thing is like, is this what 7.0 is going to be about? Or is this the middle story before 7.0? And then are we going to get something different for 7.0? You know what I mean? Because we did that before with Shadowbringers. We had a story where we had like that little middle area, and then it's like, oh hey, now this is what's going on. There's war.
See, I don't agree with that because like the first 3 patches of like Shadowbringers. Are you talking about Shadowbringers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first 3 patches were directly connected to the Emmett Selk story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the last 2 patches that bring in like the nudge into Endwalker. So
yeah, and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, is this the middle and then the last 2 gonna be what 7.0 is, or is this what 7.0 is eventually gonna be?
Yeah, my hope is that this entire thing will lead into 7.0.
Mm-hmm.
Lead this all into 7.0. I don't know where we're gonna go for 7.0. I don't know if they're gonna go to a different world or if they're just gonna explore Eorzea itself. Or the source, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Fee? What do you think?
Well, first of all, before I get into my thoughts on that, I just want to preface when Harv and I were going through this particular section, 6.2, Harv didn't have any hopes that the 13th could be saved. He specifically said, no,
what the
there's
hell's
no
wrong
way
with
for this
you?
to be
You
fixed.
could always save things with friendship.
And I
you
was
know
just
this.
like, and I was just like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? This is definitely, there's a way for them to bring this back. Like, we've seen this before. What are you talking about? And he's just like, no, it's too far gone. And then at the end, and then just wait, at the very end, he's just like, this makes sense. They'll definitely be able to do something.
What?
Like, what the fuck are you talking
What are you
about?
talking about?
Let's rewind this.
So I do these.
You
I do these things to throw you guys off.
No,
Because-
bullshit.
Okay. I think you're projecting. I think you're throwing yourself off.
Bullshit. You're just like, I'm gonna seem wise by making it seem like I definitely was.
But I know that
you
because I've been
won.
through the Eden raid. What's what they did there in that one, which I think is at some point is going to become required raiding at some point. I think going forward.
Maybe. It
Because-
should. It's
because
a really good story.
It's a really really good story. So like
Yeah.
I feel like that whole thing is gonna come over to the 13th. Anyways, keep going, Fee.
Anyway, Harv continues to lie to himself. No, I think that this is going to be this is the movement between 6 and then 7. It might be a matter of 0, like, and we've had this discussion at length already. The fact that we think that 0 is going to sacrifice themselves or they're going to die before 7. I think that's going to be what is kind of the catalyst to move us into either A, saving the 13th, because that was the final piece and then we're now able to actually bring it back, or it might end up in full calamity where we get sucked into another dimension. Who knows at this point? I think that Emmett Selk's entire conversation at the end of 6, when he was talking about the fact that we haven't seen everything in the world, I think that was kind of the motivation to what we're going to see in 7.
Yeah.
But they could lead us in a whole other path. Maybe that's 8 and they're just like, 7, we're shipping you off to the deepest darkest realms of the fucking like source.
We'll send
Or,
you to garbage town.
Yeah, we're gonna send you somewhere and you're gonna have to fix it up again. Mind you, I feel like that might be like, it might feel slightly like a cop out, because then it's just like, what's the opposite of Shadowbringers? Oh, just going to a place that's completely consumed by darkness, which I think that's why we didn't see 6.2 as like the entire story plot of 6. You know what I mean? Yeah, there was definitely some aspects where the source was plummeting into darkness, but it wasn't to the point that we see with the 13th. And it's right now it's like a mini kind of oh, you want to have that feeling of Shadowbringers again? Oh, we're gonna just bring this realm back to the brink, like to like actual like solidify the planet rather than it being like a gaseous dark realm of horrors
gassy
and
world.
yeah. Well, yeah. Right now it's like what clouds and mist and like abominations that
and
won't
like
die.
weird shadow wisps in the air.
Yeah, I think this is going to be some sort of transition into 7. I'm interested to see what they do with 7, because who knows what we're going to do at this point. Because as we all know, the entire story plot of the first 4 ended at the end of 6. So who knows what we're going to do at this point.
So funny you mentioned that, Fee, because I did want to piggyback off what you just said right now, which is the light and dark stuff, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if we are going to get any kind of really good tangible story from any Final Fantasy 14 stuff going forward, we need to stop the light and dark shit. There has to either be something new or some other kind of being or energy or something like that isn't just light and dark. Because you're right. If we just go to another world and it's like, oh, this world is too much dark, put some light into it. You know what I mean? Eventually, it's gonna get stagnated and boring. No matter how many characters or really good stories you put into it.
Well, I think it's. Oh, my apologies. You can.
No, you're good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the problem with that is there's not a clear way to stray off of the fight against darkness and light. It's the same thing with, and every freaking show likes to talk about this recently, and I used to say a lot of like Eastern anime and like Japanese video games up until I listened to the Sandman, the fight against despair versus hope. Like that's the same preface. It's going to be dark versus light. It's despair versus hope, dark versus light. And I don't think that there's a way for them to completely stray off of that idea. It's just going to be in different terms or in different themes, but it's still going to be that kind of fight against darkness, like the darkness and light, or like an abundance of light. But I'm right now, I don't see a clear path to the end in comparison to where we're playing with like when we're going through Heaven's Word and Stormblood and then Shadowbringers. There's no real clear path to where we're going to be going into 7. So I'm interested to see what they do with it. Maybe Zero is the final baddie.
Yeah, maybe Zero just becomes super mad and becomes our next Xenos.
Maybe Harv finally realizes that he is lying to himself and trying to pretend like
I have a feeling where they're gonna go. Because if they're going the Final Fantasy IV route, I have a feeling where they're gonna go.
That's why it
all makes sense, because the way that it's set up, the way that Eshdaya is there, it just makes sense the way that they're gonna go. Obviously, there are different motivations, different ways that they're gonna do it, but the end goal, I have a feeling, is going to be the way.
I have a question for the Graybeard. Is there any other like natural being within the Final Fantasy universe that doesn't just boil down to light dark?
In Final Fantasy, in general, I mean, most of the Final Fantasies, there's some time travel shit, but mostly it's all light and dark. That's what Final Fantasy.
Did we do time travel yet? We did time travel already.
I mean,
14. Yeah.
Literally 6. That was literally time travel.
Yeah, we went back.
Travel.
Yeah. So, we also went time traveling in like the raids as well.
Yeah.
No, light and dark is a pretty common theme when it comes to the Final Fantasy games, just in general. Yeah. But
maybe I'm just fatigued by it. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just fatigued by the idea of light and dark. Because also you have to understand too, Destiny literally is just light dark, and I'm like, ugh.
But I think you can keep doing light and dark. You have to disguise it or wrap it in an interesting way. I think
like Fee said, like make it despair and hope. You know what I mean?
That's what 6 was. That's what 6 was.
That's what Endwalker. Yeah, that's what Endwalker was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, do like that. You know what I mean? Just make it a little bit different instead of just like light dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I would love to hear from you, Harv. Where do you think this game is going currently?
Where do I think this game? I think this game, one, it needs a balance check at some point. This game needs some sort of balancing, because I don't think the balance is there. If there, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but if I can't play Paladin in a raid, I feel like there's something wrong with the game. Just like how Machinist can't be played in raid, or nobody wants to take a red mage into raid because it's not as viable as a dancer or as a black mage. There needs to be, just in the core experience when it comes to like jobs, I think they need to get rebalanced.
Sure.
But when it comes to like story and stuff like that, I'm excited to see where they go because I have a feeling of how it's gonna play out to the point where like I think I know who the like one of the bosses will be, because obviously we're gonna see the next two fiends, right? Cognazzo and who's the other one? I forgot what the other fiend's name was. The fire one. I forgot what the fire's one was. Because I think Cognazzo is the ice one, and then there's the fire one as well. I didn't expect to fight two fiends in the same patch, which was really weird. Fighting Scarmaglione and Barbariccia.
That did feel weird.
Yeah.
Because you get that cutscene, and I guess slight spoilers for this, but you get that cutscene where both the lights are out, and it's like half the fight's already done. I was just like, it seems like it's going kind of fast.
Yeah, we're going a little fast, but
a little fast here,
and now the other two fiends are working together as well, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I have an idea where they're gonna go with this story, but they're putting it with the Final Fantasy 14 way, where like, you guys remember the Watcher from
Marvel,
from Endwalker?
Oh, that Watcher. No.
Yeah. The one that was on the moon.
Yeah,
he was watching Zodiark and making sure everything was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that has to do something with Golbez, because we see that little cutscene at the very end showing the Watcher that's on the moon of the 13th, because I think Golbez is on the moon of the 13th. That's where his lair is and stuff like that, and he killed the Watcher. And
what?
Yeah. So I think there's something with that, and then with Ajdaya being there, and then Golbez as well. There's some fusion shit that happens. There's some fusion shit that happens, and then we see another enemy. His name is Zexmus, and he is one of the big enemies in 4. So I think we're gonna see something like that. But I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but because everything is pointing towards this way. Everything is pointing towards that way.
Sure.
But I do wish. I want this story to directly affect what is going to happen in 7.0.
Yeah.
I want this story to directly affect it, because I think if they nail this and do this correctly, it could have some sort of ripple effect in different worlds, or even on the source.
Okay.
Because from what I know, from what I remember, I don't think any other planet or any other world is in dire straits right now, except the 13. I think that's the only one that's really like, because obviously the source, we fixed the source for the most part, right?
Yeah.
13th is F to like almost all beyond, but like we're gonna bring it back. Obviously by the end of these patches, we're gonna bring it back. But I want that to affect something in the source. Does that like do something that we did that affect something back home?
Here's the thing. This is my out of like literally probably never gonna happen, but for anyone in the audience who's ever watched Parks and Recreation, I'm gonna spoil it for you. There's two places. There's Pawnee, Indiana, and then there's Eagleton. And Eagleton fucked their town really fucking hard, to a point that HBO was free for everybody because they thought it was a like not a want but a need because it's HBO. And so what they did was they combined Eagleton in with Pawnee, and maybe, just maybe, that's how they figure out this is how we're gonna have to fucking fix this, is just consuming the 13th, because it's at such a specific state where there's only one way to fix it, and it's to combine it with the source. Because why not?
Yeah, why not?
It's big, crazy, out of left field. Not gonna happen, but
never. That's the thing. I don't know where this story is going, Fee. So I don't know.
Yeah, because it might be that. Because it might be too specific. Because they talked about the fact that the entire like the entire planet is now just mist. Mind you, they probably don't even know what's in the mist, because they don't want to like venture down that far. And now it's just like essentially different realms
Yeah.
that they have, rather than actual places. So it might be easier to take the realms out of the 13th and then put them into the source, but that is going to probably cause some devastating circumstances unless they put the 13th into the moon, because there's a huge
Yep.
space in the moon now because Zodiark's fucking gone. Why
Yeah,
not put them in the
put 'em there.
moon?
I think the world is bigger than the moon.
It's literally like astral planes currently, Harv. It's not even
Yeah.
a planet.
Just make it a moon planet.
That
you
is
know
true.
what I mean?
That is true. It's just a bunch of debris flying around.
Yeah, we may as well put them at the edge of the like universe where
Yeah.
like we
Where
ended
Meteon
Split
was.
6. Yeah,
We would just start
we're
planet
Meteon.
hopping. Just start
Yeah.
planet hopping for a little bit. Why
Yeah,
not?
they can hang out with the dying like dragons
dying
and the...
civilizations.
Yeah,
Go
I mean,
visit some other worlds. You know, let's go meet some aliens.
When we get to the next patch, we're gonna have dailies with the Omicron, I think, and they're gonna
Okay.
reinstate that bar that's up there. Do you guys remember?
Oh
when we were
no,
with Alize and Alphino.
I
think
can't
remember.
handle.
Oh yeah, I think I remember. Like right at the close to the end where you lose them, right? Yeah. Okay.
But the mount you get for those basement tribe quests is fucking adorable.
What
it's
is
adorable.
it?
It's like a blue blob kind of thing, but it like has like a face on it. Here, I'll show you.
That's the most unadorable description I've ever fucking heard.
No, but I think that might be the way to fix it is put them at the edge of the universe and say, you know what, here you go.
Find your way back.
Yeah, because okay, you know what? Here's my big brain energy. So that's what's going to happen. That's going to take us into this 7, and then 8 is bringing all the like realms into one, and then they have to wait until like the actual like rotations all line up, and so that it's now a line, and then it's the entire premise of Hercules, where then they open up the world, and then the Titans come out of the fucking planet, and then try to take down.
Yeah. When can I fight a planet in Final Fantasy? That's what I want to do.
Harv, have you not seen Hercules, like Disney's Hercules?
I have, but we just took a turn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking like random ideas right now because
I sent you the picture.
Okay,
Discord.
I'm looking at the picture right now. Okay, I don't like it. That is,
Here,
I don't like it.
I'm gonna put it in our.
That's very uncomfortable. But no, I'm just thinking crazy ideas because you know what? I did not see the end of 6 happening. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Shadowbringers. I did not see that coming because the writing for both of these expansions were phenomenal. So I'm just thinking out of the box. Because why not?
I'm okay. Honestly, I like out of the box more than I like it being in the box. Okay,
Yeah.
In the box, I feel constricted, feels weird, in darkness.
Yeah, because you know what? Sometimes you need to go out of the box and not be underwhelming, like a specific aspect of the game that I just recently finished and maxed out, and then realize, you know what? This was kind of anticlimactic, which we'll talk about when we get to Island Sanctuary. No, yeah. But no, I think it's fun to like have crazy ideas because they've done some out of the box things. Mind you, I would honestly really like to have that kind of like venture to the like far east, way past where the map goes, or way far west, or just be able to like venture to see like other areas, because that seems to be like mentioned that Emmett Selkat at the very end. Just give me 1 second, guys. I did not want to sneeze in everyone's ear. But no, I would love to kind of venture within the source and not have to venture out into other areas like the first. But if it comes down to that, I do hope that if they do end up having to go to different different areas, because it seems like right now there was a way to get to the 13th through oh my goodness, where is it? Where are they?
Asdal something or other.
Yeah, but like
the dungeon that we did in the first patch.
yes, but no, the actual area, like the place on the map where they currently to be able to get access to that location.
Oh, Thavnir?
Yes, we had to go to Thavnir to get
Yeah.
to the 13th. So does that mean we have to venture to other areas on the planet to get to different locations? Like we
Yeah.
might hear like, okay, we read in a book specifically that we had to go to this different area to get access to the 6th or like the 9th or whatever specific realm, and then we get to go to that location and then build up that reputation with that group to be able to go to that area. I hope I'm just spitting out ideas because you know what? You guys are letting me just talk randomly about my ideas on how
I'm okay with it. I'm
I'm okay with it. I'm just listening.
I really want to
sense,
go
though.
to Mericidia. That is the one because like we talk about Mericidia a lot in this game, and some of the enemies also in like Coil of Bahamut, the last fight, the like dragons of Mericidia and stuff like that. And I think it would be a cool throwback to go to that place. I feel I want to go there for 7.0, but I guess like the more that we ventured the 13th, I think it probably won't happen. I don't know. Again, this is also all preconceived notion that
hello?
I think Fee
okay?
lost her audio. She lost her audio. But this is all the preconceived notion of like that these patches are gonna go right into 7.0. Like give us 7.0. But I'm not 100% sure that I still believe that. So I'm not 100% sure yet.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbors are loudly fighting outside.
Oh,
that's okay. See, that's not okay. I don't feel as bad.
Content,
yeah, I don't feel as bad then because like. I mean, unless it gets into like something. I thought her entire audio just dropped.
Oh no.
No.
Oh,
no.
Because you're like this, and I was like, "Did something happen to your audio?"
No, I was just like, I moved. No, I went like this to move it out of my I could hear, and then I was just like, "What is happening?" And then I realized like my window's over this way, so I had to take my headphones off because I'm like, no, we don't need that on the podcast. No. Yeah, I agree. I would like to I'm just excited to get to new areas because that's one of my favorite parts is being able to venture in different locations.
Start of expansions are the most exciting parts because we get to see new zones, we get to see new enemies, we get to see new dungeons and see what they do with that. And best is we get to see the new story and see where they go, right? Like it's like going into Endwalker with all of us. And going into like Old Charland, it was so exciting because like, oh my god, what is this new place? What's going on here? Where do we go? And all that kind of type thing. And it's very exciting. It's very exciting. But yeah, I just wanted to touch base with this episode. For the next episode, we're probably gonna talk about Abyssos because I think Frank will end up doing Abyssos for next week. But yeah. I think we'll save our rants and raves for that because Fee hasn't talked about it in spoiler mode yet either. I've only done a video on it on the channel, but I'm excited to see what you guys think about it for next time. For next time.
Oh yeah.
Fee, where can everybody find you?
People can find me on the internet, over on twitter.com/Serenix. You can also find me over at Twitch. Over at twitch.tv/Zoranix. Not sure about what's going to happen to what I'm doing on Game Source Network, but we'll see what happens there. RIP Stadia.
RIP Stadia.
Yeah. If random side note, not specifically about me, but I just recently realized that there is a local brewery, if you are in Nova Scotia, who are raising money for the SPCA. And guess what they've been doing? They post pictures of animals that are adoptables at the actual SPCA. So it's really cute.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I just wanted to randomly put that aside. I know that's really random, but it has a cute cat on it. So there you go. His name is Cody. He's 10 weeks old. There you go.
Good for you, Cody, for putting yourself on that camp. Frank, where can everybody find you?
You can find me here at Fantasy in Progress and Point in Progress in general. You can find me on Twitter at TheFrankGV. And you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the same name too, at TheFrankGV. Yeah, that's basically everywhere you can find me.
Heck yes. You can find me here on Point in Progress. This has been episode 13 of the Fantasy in Progress podcast, the Point in Progress podcast about Final Fantasy, where we talk about everything. We got to do a Gold Saucer episode at some point. We got to do one of those.
Saucer episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm very interested to see what you guys think about like Mahjong and Triple Triad and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. We should do an episode in the game.
I mean, I'd be down. I just don't know how I would shoot that. That's the only thing.
that's the problem. We can figure out.
I already know how we could do this.
Okay, well, Fee apparently has the cheat codes.
I also have an idea how we could do this, but I want to hear fees first. But
okay, well, apparently everybody knows except me, the person that runs the show. So here we are. Here we are. But yeah, you can find the show recorded, or actually not recorded live. You can find the show on Mondays on youtube.com/pointinprogress. If you guys like the channel, if you guys like the content on the channel, hit the sub button. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. Tell us what you think about your thoughts about Final Fantasy 14 and what you guys think about the game right now. And if you guys like it and if you guys don't like it, let us know. Everything is viable right now. Like I'm so intrigued to see what people think about where they are at for the game right now. So as a person that is playing this game for 10 plus years, I totally understand where you guys are coming from because I go through it I go through it a lot, but I got to the point where I'm just used to this cycle now at this point, and a lot of MMOs don't do this cycle. It's what Fee was saying. Nope. It's like they want you to be on the game all the time. You got to be doing this, you got to be doing that. You got to get your fucking world buffs and all that kind of crap and shit and all that stuff. In this game, they're like, "You want to play? No? Okay, that's fine. We'll see you in a bit. We'll see you later." So it's a very weird business model, but I think it's the right business model in my opinion. But but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.